I'd like to bring forward Mayor John Giles from the City of Mayor to give him just a minute or two to say a few words.
Well, thank you. It really is quite a privilege for me to be able to stand in front of you and on behalf of the City of Mesa just to welcome you to Mesa, to let you know that we are really excited that you're here. It truly is an honor for Mesa for the, I think, at least over 20 years out of the last 48 years that we've had the Arizona State Fire School to play host to this event. I know that our great Fire Chief Mary Camelli, National Fire Chief of the Year, by the way, and the Mesa Fire Department really consider this an honor and are excited to play hosts. I hope you'll, as you come to Mesa, I hope you'll get the opportunity to maybe try some of our restaurants, buy some gas, help support our local economy while you're here. A lot of that goes into our fire department, so spend as much money as you can while you're here. But I am constantly reminded of what a difficult job you have and the importance of training and being well prepared. Shortly after I became mayor several years ago, I think within the first few weeks, our fire department had me loaded up with a fully equipped gear, and had the very educational experience of dragging hoses and bodies through smoky rooms. So I have some small appreciation for the difficulty of the job that you have and the importance of being well trained to do a good job. As has been indicated, a couple of days from now, we will all be very importantly reminded of the events of 20 years ago on 9/11. Immediately adjacent to this building in our amphitheater, we will be hosting a large event Saturday at 10 o'clock. Where we will hear from first responders that were actually involved in New York City on that day. But I don't think that event, and I'll be honored to participate in that program, but I don't think that event will be any more poignant than what we just experienced a moment ago, being reminded at a very local level of the price that is attached to being a first responder and of being a public servant and of protecting our communities. So on behalf of those that you serve, please accept our gratitude and our thanks for making the decision to be a public servant and to put your lives on the line for those that you love in your communities. And again, thank you for being here, for sharpening your skills, for being good at your very important and significant jobs in our community. We love you and appreciate you, and we'll do all that we can to support you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mayor.
Okay, our keynote speaker is a local Arizona young man who's worked really hard to get where he's at. We'd like to welcome Mr. Chief Kane Nixon with the Arizona Fire and Medical District.
Thank you, sir. Good morning. All right, good morning. Yeah, all right. I appreciate the kind introduction from Chief Wood. That's going to probably cost me a little bit later. I'll get you back. So, first of all, can we hear a round of applause one more time for the Color Guard, Honor Guard, and pipes and drums? Unbelievable. They do a fantastic job every year. And I need to start off by saying that it is truly an honor for me to be here to speak with you today. Usually, I'm a student at State Fire School, and I have the opportunity to teach this year and speak to you today. So it's exciting to be in front of my peers, but even more exciting, I get to speak in front of my mentors. There's many of you in the room here today. So I have to express my gratitude and my humility. Thank you for everything that you have done for me up to this point in my career. So, we're going to talk about firefighter wellness and the leadership challenges that come with that. And one other note is that we in the fire service, we're standing on the shoulders of giants. Are we not? Those who have come before us have paved the way for us to do some pretty amazing things. And for someone who's as short as I am, I picked some pretty tall mentors. So thank you for your laugh. That was, all right, I got a couple. Oh, that's good. All right. So first, you might be wondering, who's this guy? And that's all right. So my name is Kane Nixon. I'm a division chief with the Arizona Fire Medical Authority. But I truly have a passion for firefighter health and wellness. And part of that is in my work that I've done with firefighter fitness. I'm actually the fitness director at Glendale Community College. I'm one of the state advocates for the National Fallen Firefighters Everyone Goes Home program. We have some really great folks here in the state that are doing some phenomenal work. You might have interacted with me to some extent with the Firefighter Cancer Support Network. I was the state director for about 5 years, and before that I was just involved in the programs, but I was traveling around the state teaching and giving classes, educating firefighters on their cancer risks, the carcinogens that we're exposed to. And frequently I'd be done with the class, folks would come up and I'd want to give high fives and handshakes, and they'd say, yeah, that was good. Have you ever heard of Dave Renke? He talks about what you're talking about, but he's a lot better. So I didn't know it at the time. Years ago, Dave and I had the same mission. The difference is Dave was diagnosed with stage 4 kidney cancer, and his message was much stronger than mine. So we paired up and we traveled the state together, training firefighters, and at one point he called me and said, "You're a pretty busy guy. You're not really doing a great job anymore. I'm going to take the state over from you." But yeah, you're probably right. That's a good idea. So Dave served as our state director for about 4 years. I told that story at Dave's funeral this last year. His industrial cancer took his life this last year. And so when we talk about those who've paved the way in front of us, Dave is one of those folks. So we're going to carry this mission forward and make sure that our firefighters in Arizona know their risks when it comes to cancer and other wellness issues. So when we talk about firefighter wellness, that's the umbrella term. And there's multiple factors that go into firefighter wellness, but the big three that I'm going to talk to you about today are firefighter fitness and our cardiac risks, firefighter cancer, our exposure risks, and this new discussion that's taking place with firefighter behavioral health and our emotional and mental trauma that we're exposed to throughout our careers and what that means to us. So we have made great strides over the last 20, 30 years when it comes to fitness, cancer, and now we're getting into the behavioral health realm. But the message is that we're not done, and we must not lose sight of what has already happened, what the path that has already been paved and the accomplishments we've made. So let's start with firefighter fitness. In the 1990s, I'm probably talking to maybe a third of the room at this point, right? I know we got a lot of young folks in the room. The Wellness Fitness Initiative was a phenomenal movement. We took the IFF, the IFC, and other groups, and we created the NFPA 1482 physicals, and then the CPAD came out of that. And the best thing that we can do for our fire service is to offer thorough annual 1582 physicals. Now, I know some departments in this room are like, yeah, we've been doing that for decades, but I want to talk to every department in the room and make sure that every department understands how critical these are. These follow our 13 essential job tasks. Then what do you do? What is your department doing post-physical? Are you tiering? Is there a punitive nature, mandatory nature? These are questions you need to be asking. Do you have a return to work program or policy? Facilities, and do you have policies that encompass all of this? So what we're addressing here is our cardiac, where we've been. So one of the stats that stands out to me most is from Dr. Smith. It says for every one cardiac-related on-duty death, a line-of-duty death, there are 17 other cardiac events that are non-fatal for our firefighters every year. So that's 1 to 17. So when we look at cardiac deaths, it doesn't even tell the story about the cardiac picture that we're dealing with. So we need to know our risks. I'll just touch on a couple of these. Sudden cardiac death for our firefighters on duty is still a problem. We're still experiencing issues that we thought we had addressed in the 90s. With our cardiac sudden death risks on duty, you're also at a greater risk if you have some of these other factors. So 35 times greater risk of a sudden cardiac death on duty if you already have a heart condition, 15 times greater if you're 45 years or older. Sorry, guys. 12 times higher if you have hypertension, 10 times higher if you're a diabetic, 6 times higher if you're a smoker, 4 times higher if you have high cholesterol, and 3 times higher if you are obese. Now, these are scary to me because I know for a fact that we have firefighters in our departments that are in multiple categories here. So we need to make sure that we're not forgetting about our cardiac issues or risks, and we're bringing those into the wellness discussion. Firefighter cancer. This has been a big part of my life and career. Now, let me go back here. I've got to say that in the last 10 years, the work that our union leadership, our management leadership, the Arizona Fire Chiefs Association, the AFSI, the collaborative effort then to work with our state legislators has been phenomenal. So let me just hear a round of applause for those folks because we have made huge strides, and some of those folks are in the room, so I want to show that it matters, all of your hard work that you've done. But we're not done, right? Firefighter cancer is still very much an issue for us. Between 2002 and 2019, 66% of the names that were put on the IFF memorial wall were cancer deaths. And in the fire service, these are our general numbers. We're 9% higher for a diagnosis of cancer and 14% higher than the general population to die from cancer. Now, when we break down the data, we are at a far greater risk of some specific cancers. But regardless, we need to keep paying attention to this situation. So some questions for your department is, do you have cancer screening components in your annual 1582 physicals? Do you require on-scene decon? Can I get a show of hands who on, either as a manager, chief, firefighter, whatever your rank is, raise your hand if your department is deconning on scene, on fires. Okay. So we need to identify why we're all not, right? Let's get that stuff off of our gear quickly. Then what do we do when we get back to the fire station? One of the phrases I always use is shower within the hour. There's data that shows if we can decontaminate ourselves by getting into a hot shower within 1 hour of our exposure, it will reduce the toxic levels of carcinogens in our blood. Then here's some expensive pieces. 2 sets of turnouts, extractors in the stations. I get it. Not every department can do those things. But you can work towards that, right? And then the Firefighter Cancer Support Network has 12 actions that are zero cost or low cost that your department can implement today to work towards a better firefighter cancer prevention program. Here's a perspective that we don't think about with cancer, folks. Cancer is a physical disease, but it is just as equally an emotional and psychological journey that our folks are on. 1 in 3 people with cancer experience mental or emotional distress. 25% experience depression, 45% experience anxiety. Cancer survivors are twice as likely to die by suicide than the general population, which takes me to our next point with firefighter behavioral health. Now, this is a new topic, I think, within the last 5 years. We've really been paying attention to it. Maybe even 10. Some have really been paying attention to this for 10, but our behavioral health problems manifest in behaviors, right? So that might be post-traumatic stress, anxiety, depression, substance abuse, and then we get into suicidal ideations and even suicide attempts. And tragically, in 2017, we lost more firefighters by suicide than we did by all line of duty deaths combined. Here's the other thing. We're not very good at reporting firefighter suicides, so this data is even worse than what we can publish. Because 70% of our nation's firefighters are volunteer. We have a mechanism to report these deaths, but previously we did not. So some of the questions your department should be asking is, again, pre-hire evaluations. Is your department doing psychological evaluations early in the career? Are you screening mental health with the 1582 physicals? Craig Tiger Act, House Bill 2502. Is your department tracking those incidents for your folks? And then how about some of these other factors, life factors that impact our folks? Financial fitness, right? Are we addressing that for our folks on the job? And then a peer support team is a program within a program, but it is critical to intervene when our firefighters have high-stress incidents. So here's the leadership challenge. Leaders have to do this thing called introspection. Where's Chief Compton? I saw him earlier. Chief Compton. This is not new. Introspection is what we do as a leader. We look within, we evaluate our strengths and our weaknesses. We also identify our past experiences and how they're impacting us today. Introspection is this examination or evaluation of your own mental and emotional process. Now, Chief Compton was here 2 years ago talking about this. It's imperative for leaders in the fire service to have that reflection internally. Foucault is a French philosopher. I'm going to level up real quick. I'm just so I don't just read French philosophy on my days off. I'm defending my dissertation later this month, and I used Michel Foucault's Leadership as a Reflection of the Self. What it really breaks down to here, folks, is you got to look inside and you got to be honest with yourself. And that is hard. But leadership is hard. One of my other mentors told me, when you're faced with conflict, you have 3 options. This is it. You can accept things the way they are, you can put yourself in a position to change them, or you can leave. And when we're talking about firefighter wellness, our folks, we can't accept things the way they are. And I'm not leaving the fire service. We're here because we're committed to it. We're not surrendering or abandoning. Our only choice is to march forward and put ourselves in positions to make change. So here's some of those influencing factors. Your personal experiences help shape your perspective, and that's where your opinions come from later down the road. In my study, I found 3 critical factors to chief fire officers: level of education, years of experience, and resources. And that might sound like good job. But statistically, to prove that, yes, levels of education matter, training matters, years of experience matters, and then having the resources and the people to make change is critical. So can we agree, change is hard? Am I right? Now, I don't know if you guys are aware of this. I heard a rumor on the streets that firefighters don't like change. Is that right? So I find it fascinating, guys, that our folks in the field can be on a structure fire, making a fast, aggressive interior fire attack, 100% all-out effort, and just by one key of the mic, command all units on the scene. We're transitioning to a defensive strategy. Make your way out of the structure with a par. And you might not like it, you might disagree with it, but you're going to do it. And it's amazing to me that our firefighters can transition so quickly in such a critical moment. But when they get back to the fire station, if somebody moved the silverware drawer from here to here, it's on, right? B shift? B shifters. Okay, I'm sorry, guys. But here's the thing. Change is difficult. It's not easy. It is uncomfortable, but it requires leadership. Leader, the word leader means movement. I mean, you are making, it's a directional characteristic, is it not? With leadership, you have to have followers. Now, it's important to know the difference, right? And when to be a leader, when to be a follower. But a leader takes a group of people, moves them towards identified objectives for outcomes. It is not easy, but it's worth it. So, who are the leaders in the fire service? You're here. If you're in this room, you are a leader in the Arizona Fire Service. Maybe past, present, or future, but you're here. You have taken the time out of your life to come here. You have identified a situation, an objective, an opportunity that requires you to put in the work to be here, to make change. So if we're looking around our departments wondering, who's going to handle this? They're here. You're in the room. Now let's talk accountability versus ownership. Everybody wants accountability until they're being held accountable, right? Accountability to me has this negative connotation, almost punitive, right? When I hear we need to hold that person accountable, that to me sounds disciplinary almost, right? It's got a punitive nature to it, but ownership doesn't. When you say ownership, you think pride, you think investment, and really, with any problem, all that is how we look at it, our frame of perspective. If we create and foster an environment of ownership, you're not going to need as much accountability. Okay, so how do we implement these wellness programs? Good thing is, a study has been done. There's the Chief and Champ model identified the most successful ways across 30,000 firefighters on how to implement a wellness program. And it's simple. You need two things. You need a firefighter wellness advocate or champion, boots on the ground, that is action-oriented. The other half of that equation is you need a willing chief officer to support, endorse, advocate for, and fund these programs. This is what I call the boots and bugles approach to program implementation. Who's seen the boots to bugles, right? That's challenging. Chief officers, who's done the bugles to boots? That's challenging. What I'm asking for is for something this critical, we need to come together in a collaborative effort and work together to identify the objectives and then positive solutions. And then also, responsibility does not equal authority. Well, I'm going to say it again. Responsibility does not equal authority. if you are tasked with an objective but you have no ability to execute, that is difficult, right? So it's important that we empower our people laterally and vertically to identify and implement solutions, but we have to support our people to come to these conclusions. Now, something that I think is we got to get back to the basics. We complicate things a lot, right? We add layers to things. Our number one goal or mission in what we do in the fire service is to provide emergency services to our customers. That's it. And that might look differently. We might do it differently, but that is the basic mission. Now, how we do that and how we support our folks to make sure they're at their best is critical. Our firefighters have to be at their best to provide the best services possible. And we have to take that ownership to make sure that's happening. The good thing is, the roadmap has already been written. We don't have to try to reinvent the wheel. We have hundreds and hundreds of resources available. Firefighter Cancer Support Network, you need marketing materials, station flyers, presentations, social media, education. It's there. The National Fallen Firefighters has the Everyone Goes Home program, as well as the First Responder Center for Excellence. They're doing advanced research today that support this mission. The IAFF, the IFC, phenomenal groups advocating, right, for behavioral health, cancer, and fitness. So on all levels, these two organizations are doing a fantastic job. Now we have local groups, the Arizona 100 Club, phenomenal group, advocating for our people. Then we have other associations like the Arizona Fire Chiefs Association, the Arizona Fire Districts Association, the PFFA, working hand in hand with the Arizona Fire Service Institute. These groups, they're ready and willing to roll out whatever resources you might need. So, my ask to you guys, to everyone in the room, to all of the fire service leaders that are here today, you've already taken step one. You're here. Is commit yourself to continuous self-improvement. Introspection, looking at yourself, identifying those strengths and weaknesses, identifying those past experiences that may be positively or negatively shaping your perspective today. Continuous self-improvement. Step one, check. You're at State Fire School. Now, you're here, so students, please learn aggressively. If you leave State Fire School and you feel like you didn't get anything from it, you did it wrong. Instructors, teach aggressively. It is on you to pass everything you know on to the next generation. Now, train hard, be fit, be well, and please be safe. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Chief Dixon. What a job. Thank you very much. Okay, we're moving right along. Our next information is going to come from retired Chief Randy Redmond. Chief Redmond has been instrumental in dealing with the Firefighters Foundation, so we'll turn the mic over to Chief Redmond.
Clay, am I down here or up there? Okay, this is fine. I have a couple thank yous to begin with. The first one is I thank everybody that's here. It's been kind of unusual to miss a year and get back in track, so I think at 700 we've done really well, so thanks to everybody for coming. I appreciate it very much. Generalized thanks to the training committee and leadership of Chief Tamarowski, but I do want to break it to Chief that after our executive board meeting last night and his absolute, I don't know how to put it, but I'm not going to call you dad. Not going to call you dad. Yeah, oh boy. Okay, let's talk about the raffle Saturday night. Everybody's talked about it a little bit. We're still going to have a raffle. We're still going to have some fun. One of the things that's going to happen, we're still going to have a chance to win the $10,000 3 times. We're going to be doing that. But I'll tell you that this year, the $50, $100 thing has been changed. Even if you don't win the $10,000, you're going to win $500 or $1,000. So we'd like to see you there so you can come get some money. All right, let's talk about what's going on in the foundation. Gonzo. This year we offered the scholarships up to 300 departments like usual. We had 100% of the scholarship requests satisfied, and they were satisfied by awarding 380 firefighters to be here today. If there's anybody in the room that your department qualifies under 20 full-time members and you're not on scholarship, please drop your name at the counter with Melina or there somewhere to get it to me, and I'll get a hold of you. We still have some left. We'd like to do the follow-up awards for the rest. I'd like to thank our donors. One of the things that I was doing this year is I was kind of waiting until next year because 10 years comes next year for the foundation, if you can believe that. It's hard to believe it's been for 10 years, but in 9 years, we have awarded over $580,000 in scholarships directly to you. We're very fortunate. We're still in a situation where 100% of the donations go to firefighter scholarships. There's no overhead, there's no pizza parties, and there's nobody getting paid, and I have a problem with that. Okay, so let's start with some of our friends. David Gowan, can you please stand? David Gowan is a senator out of Southern Arizona. And I don't like to talk to David as a donor, but as a friend and a supporter is tremendous. He sits in the legislature, and he's currently the Appropriations Committee chair in the Senate. And basically what he does is build the budget. And he never loses track of public safety. Police, fire, military, border patrol, all those things are a priority. 2 years ago, we talked about maybe having some more assistance from the state of Arizona, and then COVID hit. And of course, everything froze, all the money was pulled back. But this year, David stepped up. And when I made a call to ask him, are you still considering it? His comment back to me was more along the line of, duh. So it was already done. And David, we thank you always for your support. We appreciate it. And thanks for coming this morning, sir. We appreciate it. Love to see you. See you back at home, probably. One of the donors that we've had aboard since the start, the Ethel and Kemper Marley Foundation, they started as a donor with us. We have 2 long-term initial donors, Ethel and Kemper Marley and APS. APS is here with us. They're in a COVID lockdown. They were not able to attend today, but we still want to say thank you to them. We have a plaque here this morning, and our representative, Tara Hansen's here this morning. Tara has Scott with her, and Wade is here as well this morning. Sorry, Wade. It was kind of up in the air if you were going to get the time today, but thank you all for coming. We appreciate your long-term support. A lot of firefighters in this state have benefited from your help, and we thank you very much. Ironically, with COVID, this is the first time I have met Tara face to face. But yeah, we worked together for a year. So, all right, Pioneer Title. Tom Davis is here. Tom, if you would stand. Tom represents Pioneer Title. Pioneer Title is a statewide organization that's still privately owned. How many offices do you have statewide, Tom? 96 offices, and they're still a family. It's an amazing business. Owned by a friend out of my community, but Tom is not. He is the vice president out of the Phoenix area, and he's my contact, and he's been a wonderful partner for us. They came aboard a few years ago with a simple request of, hey, you want to sponsor some sort of raffle at some sort of prize or some game or something at the raffle, and that's when we came up with a $10,000 draw. And the reason why we're not 50 and 100 anymore, because he told me I was being cheap, hurt my feelings. So now we're 500 and 1,000. Tom, thank you for the support from Pioneer Title. And the next gentleman I'm going to introduce, everybody knows him. Mick, would you please stand? Mick Miller runs the Arizona Burn Foundation. He's a friend to every bit of the fire service. Mick. You don't need to talk about him. He's simply a star in the fire service. He helps everybody with everything. 2 years ago, he came to us and said, hey, we want to be part of it. Thank you very much. All right. I didn't tell Ed I was going to talk about this because, obviously. You know, I talk about, you know, you got a couple of friends, you guys go down the mall or something, you're walking around, you're walking through the parking lot, and you turn your head and say, wow, holy cow. Then you say some other things, and however you want to say it, which I won't be saying it. Then you realize what an incredible rear end that is. Gonzo? So why doesn't yours look like that? What is that? How many people in here have one of those? Currently we have 1,340 out. It produced $22,000 for us last year. Every plate costs the person that has it $25 a year, and $17 comes back to the foundation. So I'm going to do my normal thing a little bit different, but I want to make sure that everybody understands how important this is. Everybody that's here on scholarship, put your right hand up. Hold it up. I like to make a point, too. How many people in the room think their head is in their rear end? Okay, give me a minute, I'll prove it. Everybody that's here on scholarship, your right hand's up. Everybody here has a plate. How many only has one hand up? You qualify. $250 just came your way with an opportunity to spend $25. Please make it a priority in your department to do it. We dropped some reminders on chairs. Love to see these plates all over the state. We thank you very much. Please use this opportunity to support. So the breakdown, 25 and 17. Gonzo? Appreciate everybody coming. Thank you very much for letting the foundation be here. We appreciate it. Have a good day.
I'd like to thank Chief Redmond and those contributors to the foundation. That foundation, and I think you get the passion behind what Chief Redmond's talking about, the importance of support, particularly with that license plate. Today is a great day to recognize some outstanding individuals in the fire service for the service that they've provided. We're going to recognize the Arizona fire mechanics, the Arizona fire burn educators, and we have 4 inductees to the Arizona Hall of Fame, which is the highest honor that we provide as a training committee. We'd welcome each one of those, and Mike Uppaduck, if you want to come forward. Hang on just a minute.
Formed in 1975, the Arizona Fire Service Mechanics Association is committed to safety through education and networking. The association is committed to simpler, safer, and easier to operate fire apparatus. Each year, the association honors a member for their outstanding contributions. This year, the Arizona Fire Service Mechanics Association honors Maricopa Fire and Medical Department's Rodney Davenport as the Fire Mechanic of the Year. Arizona Fire Service Mechanics Association President Mike Apodaca presents the award to Mr. Davenport, who is recognized for excellence and exceptional dedication to the craft of emergency vehicle repair. Congratulations.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you.
The Arizona Fire and Burn Educators Association was formed in 1987 to to establish educational resources and standardized training and certification for public educators. Each year, the Arizona Fire and Burn Educators Association recognizes the Fire and Life Safety Educator of the Year. Kristen Bridges of the Arizona Burn Foundation is recognized as this year's Educator of the Year. Kristen was selected for her efforts in addressing burn prevention and fire safety education, along with wildfire prevention education and fire and fall prevention education. She was instrumental in developing the Milo and Moxie app, which shares fire and life safety content in the digital world. Her Milo and Moxie exhibit is currently on display at the Hall of Flame in Phoenix, Arizona. Please join us in congratulating Kristen as AFBIA President Tanya Tanner presents the award.
Good job. Congratulations. Thank you.
The highest honor from the Arizona State Fire Training Committee is induction into the Arizona Fire Service Hall of Fame. Established in 1998, the Hall of Fame recognizes individuals who have made significant positive contributions that bring credit to the fire service.
You guys go right.
Individuals nominated are evaluated based on their years of service, community contributions, state or national impact, educational impact, operational impact, contributions to the community, legislative impact, or other areas that clearly demonstrate the individual's significant contribution to the Arizona Fire Service. This year's inductees plaques will join previous honorees on display at the Hall of Fame Fire Museum in Phoenix, Arizona. Wickenburg Fire Chief Ed Temerowski, recently named the Chief Fire Officer of the Year, presents the honors to this year's recipients.
Right. How's that?
Retired Fire Chief Colin DeWitt served over 38 years in the Phoenix Fire Department and most recently the Gilbert Fire Department. He is recognized in part for his state and national contributions to the development of fire-based EMS. Chief DeWitt's leadership extended statewide and nationally to the development of progressive standards for firefighters and the delivery of fire-based EMS. Congratulations, Chief DeWitt. Will Yates has served the fire service for 46 years with service in the military, the Arizona Fire Marshal's Office, the Sedona Fire District, and the Golden Ranch Fire District. Fire Marshal Loesch is recognized for leadership in the advancement of fire and life safety codes and standards, and for contributions to raising professional standards for fire and life safety professionals in the state of Arizona. Congratulations, Fire Marshal Will Loesch. Retired Tucson Fire Department Assistant Fire Chief Mike McKendrick served the community for over 30 years. Chief McKendrick is recognized for his efforts post-retirement in the creation of the Greater Tucson Fire Foundation. The foundation has created awareness and support of firefighter health and safety. Cancer prevention and treatment, mental health, and cardiac health programs have aided firefighters across southern Arizona due to Chief McKendrick's efforts. Congratulations to Chief Mike McKendrick. Assistant Chief Larry Rooney of the Avondale Fire Department has been a member of the fire service for 40 years and is a past president of the Arizona Fire Chiefs Association. Chief Rooney is recognized for his leadership contributions in state and regional committees, the development of regional wildfire response programs, and contributions to professional development of fire officers in Arizona. Congratulations, Chief Rooney.
Thank you very much. Congratulations. Those are certainly well-deserved awards. We appreciate the work that they've done and the work that they'll continue to do.